Let's talk about the platform, and I'll start with some honesty. Party platforms are like terms of usage on an app. Very few people read them. Most people just approve them, but they are important to the party faithful. Some people work the intervening 4 years on them. They are a roadmap for political parties. They are often where grievances get addressed or people pledge to try to address grievances. To have no platform, I think it was Tim Alberta who said today that this reaches, the party now reaches the definition of a cult of personality. To have it all about one guy. What about accountability in the post-Trump era? Will they all the elected Republicans as of tonight say, yeah, you know, you had to have been there. It seemed like a good idea.
I have no idea other than to say all of these people a couple of years from now will pretend to never have heard Donald Trump or will regale us with stories about how they heroically opposed him in the back corridors, in the meetings that none of us have ever heard of. You know, look, at the end of the day, the submission of the Republican Party, lock, stock, and barrel, starting with its United States senators and its members of Congress, to Trump's authority has been startling to behold over these last three and a half years. We've seen people abdicate every position, every principle that they previously held. We have many of them, like Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, who indicted Donald Trump for his many character defects, for his intellectual, mental, and moral deficiencies to hold high office, let alone be president of the United States, who've become wonderfully adept bootlickers. And the reality is we have a crisis of cowardice in this country where the political class, the Republican political class, is terrified of receiving a mean tweet. Nobody asked any of these people to storm Omaha Beach. What they were required to do was to be fidelis to their oath. They had a duty to preserve and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. They had an obligation to stand up for the checks and balances. They had an obligation to stop the corruption, put a check on the incompetence. We have a president of the United States who has taken no action when the Russian Federation has paid Afghan warlords to kill American soldiers. He's taken no action about it. He refuses to condemn it. So we live in an era where the country, for the first time, is undefended from hostile foreign attack by a president of the United States. It's truly a despicable and rancid era that will forever be known by its cowardice. There's not a single Margaret Chase Smith, so to speak, with the exception of Mitt Romney, who stood up to call this out, as every Republican senator should have done at one point or another over the last 3.5 years. But they're all going to go down with them. And it's one of the chief reasons why you're going to see a Senate Democratic majority in the fall, most likely.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.